Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 231. My name's Adam Patterson. Joining me today, we got Kevin Rakestraw. How you doing, Kevin?
Doing pretty good.
This week on a special spooky Halloween episode of the show, we'll be talking about 80s horror. My favorite decade of horror. We got reviews of From Beyond, Night of the Comet, The Boxer's Omen, and Society, along with a bunch of other 80s horror gems on the watch list. We'll also be talking about some movie predictions, new on video on demand, Blu-ray releases. How's your Halloween, Kevin?
It's okay. It's alright. It's not bad. Yours?
Good. I mean, lots and lots of 80s horror movies. That's what I've been packing my holiday weekend with.
I hope that I still have candy left for tomorrow. I ate so much of the trick-or-treat candy. It's ridiculous. I already know one kid told me he's dressing up as Slender Man.
Nice.
Which I found out, Slender Man is like pretty popular among kids.
Yeah, it's a meme.
Well, my nephew, he's like 3. He's all into Slender Man.
No, there's like they have games. There's a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, and of course there was those famous stabbings where that one girl stabbed the other girl.
I have no idea what Slender Man is, but kids fucking all over Slender Man.
It's creepy. If you look up the history of Slender Man, it's very creepy. How it all started. I mean, it started with just photographs that ended up on, I believe it was 4chan. These intensely creepy photographs, and then it just kind of went on from there. But yeah, Slender Man's pretty interesting. The games aren't very good. I don't know. I'm not into the games. They're a little too simple.
Gotcha.
A little bit of housekeeping really quickly before we get into it. Two quick things. One, Ryan Watches a Movie will be returning. Several people have been asking me about when it's coming back. It's going to be soon. We've been running into some scheduling issues, mainly that I work till late in the evening at my day job, and Ryan does not want to record on Sundays because of football. So we're trying to work it out. But I promise you, we will be returning with new episodes of Ryan Watches Movie very shortly. Second thing, I ordered some new recording equipment this weekend, so I'm hoping that my acoustic issue with my new apartment will be resolved once I get my new microphone and soundproofing set up. That also means that Kevin will get my hand-me-down mic, so hopefully there will be some improved audio on Kevin's end as well.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right, let's just dive right into our first movie. I was thinking do you want to do chronological order?
Sure.
All right, let's start with Mo, a.k.a. The Boxer's Omen. This is a Shaw Brothers film.
Yeah.
Now, this was on your suggestion.
Yeah.
I'd never even heard of this movie before.
I've been wanting to see this sucker for a while.
This came out in 1983. This is directed by Chi Hung Kwai. I have a synopsis here. While in Thailand to avenge his brother, who was crippled in a fight with a corrupt Thai boxer, a man gets caught up in a web of fate, Buddhism, and black magic. One thing that really surprised me, because I just went into this completely cold. Knew nothing about it going into it. And in the first scene, who pops up but Bolo Hyung?
Yep.
Bolo Hyung is in this.
I was not ready for that either.
Did not know that, and as soon as I saw him in the ring, I was like, yes, Bolo is in this.
I kind of went into this cold as well, except for I did watch like the trailer, just bits and pieces of the trailer before. I knew that it was supposed to be crazy. That was the main reason I wanted to see it.
That's really all I knew going into it as well, is that I heard it was batshit.
And it is. It's a lot of things.
Now I saw your review on Letterboxd. You seem to really be into this, so we'll start
I'm super into it, and my review on Letterboxd doesn't even get into all the things that you see in this movie.
So it's
so many.
It's like one of these like the kind of classic Chinese ghost stories, but it's amped up to 11 the entire time.
Oh my!
It's really, really intense, and it's very, very strange.
Very bizarre. And the whole story just really doesn't make sense to me.
Well, no, because that was one thing. Because I thought maybe I missed something, but so this guy goes to avenge his brother, but then he just gets completely sidetracked by
Yeah,
this.
because there turns out to be something much bigger than just this boxing fight. Like, and also, why does he have to avenge his brother? Like, why is that such a big deal?
Because they broke his neck, man. It wasn't a fair fight.
People should have been watching his back. I guess that's why I guess he feels responsible because his team should have been watching out for him. They knew Bolo was bad news.
Yeah, I agree. So he goes to Thailand to fight Bolo, and he does challenge him, and that's all good. But then he gets sidetracked by this glowing kind of GPS signal that guides him to this Buddhist temple where they're like, hey, you got to fight darkness. You have to fight the evil. The evil's coming. You have to fight it. So he's like, all right. And so he just becomes a Buddhist. He throws away his entire life and becomes a Buddhist.
I also just love the fact that he's told this by a decomposing body.
Yeah,
it's an abbot.
Corpse.
It's an abbot that died like a year ago. He has to break open this urn, and the abbot essentially is like, hey, you got to fight this darkness because we were twins in a previous life. And if my body decomposes, you die. Which seems like this guy is like, close to 30 years old. And you're just finding out about this. Like, it just seems very odd timing to just all of a sudden this no-name
now's
guy
the time.
From Hong Kong. It's like, hey, by the way, you're responsible for all of the lightness in the world.
Yeah, and you have like 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah.
You have 2 weeks prep time on this.
And I just love that he's like, bullshit. You're calling out bullshit to a half decomposing monk that's talking to you. That takes some balls to be like, bullshit.
I also like the very specific time that he gives him. Like, he knows exactly. He's like 6 months. Like, that's how long you have to live. You have 6 months.
Yeah, which he died a year ago. And he's been in that urn that whole time. Like, you could have given him a heads up earlier. Like, why'd you wait until 6 months?
Yeah, give him some prep time here, guy. I mean, they go through a pretty stringent training process here. Like,
and everything gets ridiculous because it is unbelievable that he's just like, all right, throw everything away, and now I'm a monk.
Yep.
And he was
really bummed. He was really bummed out about the hair, having to cut his hair.
That's the only thing he cared about.
Like living in Thailand, the abstinence thing.
Yeah, I love the fact that he's not concerned at all that there's a decomposing corpse sitting lotus style talking to him. That doesn't freak him out at all. The fact that if that body decomposes, he dies as well, doesn't really faze him too much. Like, nothing really phases him until they're like, well, you have to shave your head. He's just like, oh, god damn it.
Damn it. I love there's this weird humor in this movie. And I don't know if it was like a subtitle thing, like a translation thing, but some of the dialogue was really funny, and it was very contemporary. And just like the demon, like when he fights the demon, some of the stuff that the demon said was just really funny.
It was. And yeah, and that's when things just when the black magic shows up.
That's when shit gets really weird.
Oh, when they throw back to the first, he kills that bat thing, and just the effects. The effects in this are terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
Well, some of them. I think some of them were.
Yeah, I guess you should say it's about 50-50.
The creature effects, the bats and the spider. The spiders are really bad. But
he used straws. He used straws at one point.
That's bad. The spiders and the bats are bad. But there was some stuff, like there's a point where the demon rips his own head off. And
that was
like that looked pretty cool, especially when like its tendrils were wrapping around the monk and trying to suffocate him and stuff. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, I would say, with the effects work.
Yeah, but even like the stuff that's so bad, there's so much creativity to it that I don't care.
Yeah, I liked the scene with the spiders drinking the poison through the straws. Like, It was just so goofy.
Oh God.
And I gotta say, this movie was really, really gross. I mean,
Yeah, it's disgusting.
really over the top gross, which I wasn't expecting. I mean, I see a lot of gory, gross movies, but there's one scene that happens later on where there's these other, I guess they're I don't know, practitioners of black magic, and they're in the process of resurrecting another demon, and the whole prep scene where they're doing the procedure of resurrecting this woman is horrific and disgusting.
It's so disgusting. The guy, he puts up that little banana, and then he peels the banana, and he throws the banana away. The banana peel. He eats that shit up. And he's already put like 7 other different things in his mouth that are just disgusting. And he eats all that shit, and he chews it up, and then he spits it out onto this like little platter, then hands it to the guy next to him. And I just, for that like instant where he's like handed it over to him, like, please don't you dare put that in your mouth. And then he proceeds to just the whole pile of shit, just puts it back in his mouth. And you know that shit was real. Like, it was seamless.
Oh yeah, there was no cuts. There was no cuts.
And you're just like, wow, they got someone to do that.
Yeah, it was really disgusting. And then there was also that in that same scene, they cut. It was like a chicken, and then they cut like a piece of the chicken off of a live chicken.
I don't know what they cut off, like a chicken butt.
That's what it looked like.
I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was.
They cut that off and ate it, and it was like, oh my God.
My hand anatomy is just it's not good, but it's something disgusting. And they're just eating insides of stuff. I want to know how many people got sick.
Oh, it was really gross. It was really, really gross. And not only that, but just a lot of the other kind of insides and guts and things that they showed in this were really horrific looking. I can't describe it. You would have to see it, but you know, a lot of movies have blood and guts and stuff, but in this movie, it looked like everything was made out of yogurt. So there was this like kind of milky creaminess to it, but there was also like black chunks and things, and it was just so like gut wrenching.
It was disgusting. I was not prepared for it to be. I was prepared for it to be bad shit, but I wasn't expecting just the gross out factor.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for that either.
A couple times.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Do not eat while watching this.
Yeah. Oh boy.
And it's not like it's violent. I mean, there's violence in it, sure, but it's not violent gore. It's just really nauseating visuals, like the cutting open of the crocodile and pulling out all the guts, and then putting the corpse into the guts. And when they cut open that bag thing that was sealing the corpse in, it was covered with the maggots. I was just like, oh my God.
Because I think a part of it is because you're not 100% sure what's actually real. And what's not.
You don't know, because that looked real. I mean
you have a guy that fucking cut off a chicken butt and ate it, and then you had him eat a bunch of other shit and spit it out, and the guy next to him ate it, and it's like, well, hell, if they're doing this, they could be eating all this other stuff. All this other stuff could be real.
Yeah,
there's no limit.
I was trying to figure out if there was any animal killings in this, because there was the chicken thing, and I couldn't tell if that was real or not.
That looked pretty real.
It looked real. It may have been.
Just beheaded that chicken and just poured blood all over those croc skulls.
Yeah, I think that probably was real. I mean, I'm not upset about it or anything. They were probably going to feed that chicken to the crocs anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not offended by that or anything, but.
But there is a certain point in this movie with the black magic stuff that you see kind of like the craziness to it, that you like, it becomes quite clear to you there is like, okay, this movie could go anywhere. Anything could happen. Anything is possible in this movie. Yeah,
it's one of those movies where clearly the director was like, you know what? He set it up so that he could literally do anything, and it would not feel out of place.
And my favorite part is, like, halfway through his first fight with the darkness, boom, wins pretty easily. Handy defeat, goes back home.
Yeah.
You're like halfway through the movie, he just
I know.
goes back.
I was like, where are we going here? Because he
And he's
just
just like,
kicked the guy's ass, and now he's done.
he's like, I'm not a monk anymore.
Yeah,
You would think that the abbot, the decomposing body guy, he would know a little bit more. That he would have like given him a heads up, like as he's walking out the door, like, hey, hold up,
Yeah, they'll be back.
You're not done. There's like three other warlocks that they're gonna come for you. So don't do anything stupid when you're back at home. Keep training instead of sleeping with your girlfriend instead.
Yeah,
But
I mean, give him the warning. But I also thought it was funny when they asked him multiple times, and he just kept lying about the abstinence thing.
that's what I love about this guy.
And he's like, what did you want me to do? He's like,
I know. Like, you at least got to give him one, right? Like, he beat darkness for you.
yeah, exactly. Come on.
You got to at least give him one. But I love the fact that he's calling bullshit on a decomposing corpse. The only thing he's really worried about is losing his hair. He beats darkness, goes back home. He just ups and leaves. He's like, I was only doing this to... He invested a lot of time in becoming a monk. And then he was just like, whatever, going home. And I also love the fact that he's not really like visiting with his brother at all during this time. Like, he doesn't give a shit about his brother, and his brother's paralyzed. And then he has to come back. He's called back into action because of the other guys, and he just straight up lies to the Buddha. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he's like, I think I'm gonna get away with this.
Yeah, the fact that because he knew the test. So basically, at the end, you do your vows, and you have to confirm or reaffirm to Buddha that you have you abide by these laws. And there's a set of candles, and if you lie, one of the candles will go out. And he went through that test the first time. So he had to know that he was going to have to do it again. But he was still like, yeah, I was abstinent. And then immediately the candle goes out. And they're like, all right, get out. I love how quickly they kicked him to the curb, too. They were like, all right, see ya. You lied to Buddha? All right, see ya.
I know. It is just, oh my God. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. And then, the resurrected demon comes back, and she gets even crazier.
Yeah.
Like, they go to Nepal, and oh my goodness. We got that shitty croc prop coming after him. It's like hungry, hungry hippos, some shit. She gets her skin ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's almost like the scene from Possession where she just blue blood just gushes from her.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. There's so much going on here.
It's a crazy movie. I don't know if I would probably consider this a hidden gem.
It's incredible. It's just, It's so fantastic. That's just so many things. And it just doesn't stay. It's relentless. It just keeps going. And they just keep doing crazier and crazier things.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I didn't think I was going to like it, actually, because I don't know why. I expected it to be more of just kind of a ghost story. And it was, and also I'm not a huge fan of just really kind of out there horror movies, like the just random bizarre stuff. But this really did it for me. This one definitely worked. So let's go ahead and give The Boxer's Omen, aka Mo, a score. What are you gonna give it out of 10?
Good, like a 9.5.
Woo! Wow, very solid. I'm gonna give it. I didn't like it that much. As much as you. So I'm gonna say 7.5 on this one for me. So definitely check that one out. Let's move on to 1984. Sorry.
Oh, I want to point something out to you real quick. That Letterboxd review that I wrote, and then this guy named Cliff came in and he was like, "Oh, Black Magic movies." Gave me a thing with other Black Magic. There's a movie called Calamity of Snakes.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Calamity of Snakes.
Is that not the best title?
It is the best title. We didn't mention there is a scene where he vomits an eel, God. Which is
just fucking incredible.
And it's a real. It's not always a real eel. I don't think. Maybe it is a real eel the whole time. It certainly is towards the end.
It might. I don't know if it was like at the very beginning there.
Yeah, I don't think it was at the beginning.
Eel in there. But when it was just a little bit, you're like, he has a fucking eel in his mouth. That's what I mean. Like, these people were dedicated. They committed to this thing, and it just blows my mind that I'm like, if you could have like Werner Herzog call me up right now and be like, Kevin, doing this movie, I need you to either eat a banana peel that's already been eaten by someone else, or you got to have an eel in your mouth for just a little bit, I'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how much you pay me. I ain't doing it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on to 1984 with Night of the Comet. So this is written and directed by Tom Eberhardt. I have a synopsis here. A comet wipes out most of life on Earth, leaving 2 valley girls to fight the evil types who survive.
The evil types.
Yeah, that's what it says. This stars Catherine Mary Stewart and Kellen Maroney. I'll be mentioning Kelly Maroney later on in the show. I saw another movie of hers this week. The Zero Boys. So I'll be coming back to her. Night of the Comet. Okay, so I saw this for the first time a couple of years ago when Scream Factory released it on Blu-ray. They remastered it, released it on Blu-ray. It was one that I had always wanted to see, and when I saw it and rewatching it today for this episode, I love this movie. I love Night of the Comet. It's so strange. It's like a comedy. It's like a horror comedy, I guess. It's not super violent or gory or anything like that. It's PG-13, so
yeah,
it's it's pretty tame as far as the gore factor, but it is so 80s, and that's what I love it. I love 80s horror movies and just 80s movies in general that really embrace the decade. And even though this came out in 84, it was just everything from one of my favorite parts of this is the scene in the radio station. Just how that radio station looks with like the purple grids and the neon. And it's like, wow, this is definitely the 80s.
But also too, just like, man, the decor in that radio station, like they spent a lot of money.
Like that bathroom with like the purple sink and yeah.
That's ridiculous for a radio station.
So basically what happens in this movie is there's a comet that passes over the Earth, and it happens to kill everybody. So it leaves off some sort of gas or something, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, really.
No, they don't explain it at all. And even the comet passing, like everyone, like that's such a non-event. Where it's just like, it's kind of like, oh, here's the comet, and there's a couple shots of the sky where
the sky turns colors, and
and there's like these neon strobes going through, and then it's just like wake up the next morning, there's clothes everywhere, and there's little piles of red dust.
Yeah, some people get vaporized and turned into sand, and other people get mutated and turn into sort of zombie ghouls.
Yeah. And it's like 2 people, really. It happens to like 2 people, they turn into zombies, except for the whole team of...
Yeah, I mean, it's not... I wouldn't call it a zombie movie by any stretch. It's more sci-fi, I guess? I don't even know. I don't even know how I would classify it.
I would say it's more of a sci-fi.
I would say it's more of a sci-fi just because of the whole think tank.
Yeah, because it's just really them going up against the think tank.
Yeah. So basically, it's these 2 sisters that survive this comet, and they are basically trying to figure out where to go and what to do, and they realize that there was this think tank that was out in the desert, and they think that this think tank is trying to help people and figure out what's going on, because I guess the comet left some sort of airborne, I don't know,
it is funny. Yeah, it was something with the gas, because it was funny when she pointed, because you were thinking like, how did they get affected, and she points out that they just left the air ducts open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is hilarious, because it's like, yeah, I could see that happening. Some dumbass just left the air ducts open.
So there's a few interesting hooks with this. One is the whole think tank thing. I think that introducing the think tank and then what their kind of ulterior motives are.
Yeah,
it was a really interesting hook with this.
I thought that was really well handled, because at first they just give you that the one woman is suffering and she's kind of hiding it seems like. So you just think that, okay, everyone else is good and she's just the one hiding it, that she's actually affected.
Right.
And then the way they play that out, like when, they go to save the sisters, I thought that was well handled. It was a nice misdirection there.
And the one think tank scientist is played by Mary Woronov, who was in Eating Raoul and Death Race 2000 and House of the Devil. She's a bit of a horror movie icon. So it was always good to see her in there. She was in Chopping Mall too in one scene, and Chopping Mall happens to be another one of my favorite 80s horror movies.
Which Kelly Maroney's in Chopping Mall too.
Yep, she is.
Everybody's in all these movies.
Yeah. They recycled a lot of the same actors in these.
Because even Beltran is in Eating Raoul.
Mm-hmm. Eating Raoul is fantastic. But anyway, getting back to this movie, the other thing that I really liked about it was the fact that the two female leads were strong female leads. They weren't, sniveling, helpless little girls.
I just wish they did more with them because they were such cool people.
They had a really good dynamic. They felt like they were sisters. They bickered, they argued.
Yeah,
and
they had such a nonchalant attitude.
Yeah, they were just so tough, and that was what was so refreshing about this movie is like when Catherine Mary Stewart's character first encounters the zombie, you think, because at that point you don't really know, like you've just been introduced to the character, so you're still learning who she is and everything, and all of a sudden she kicks his ass, and you're just like, whoa, all right, and you knew that Kelly Maroney's character Samantha, she was a little bit of a firecracker too, considering that scene at the beginning with her stepmom. How her stepmom punches her in the face, full on punches her in the face, and she's like, whatever.
Yeah,
she just shakes that shit off.
Yeah, she don't give a shit. That's what I like. I mean, honestly, I wish they did more with them because for the first hour, nothing really happens in this movie. But I did love that they're just kind of hanging out, and then cut. The immediate next scene is them shooting Uzis at a car. You have no idea how they got Uzis. They just all of a sudden they have Uzis.
But I like how they complain about them too.
Yeah, they know Uzis, and these are not. Because I don't know what they actually are. Because she was saying
they're Mac 10s.
Yeah, I think so.
Like they were Mac 10s, and they said they should have been Uzis, or maybe just vice versa.
Like they know more about guns than we do.
Yeah,
and she's just letting go. But still,
ripping into that car.
Yeah, they're just not doing. They just didn't do much.
If I remember correctly, on the special features, there's a making of on the Blu-ray, and Kelly Maroney talks about that scene and how the gun jamming, like that was not part of the script. That was actually happening to the prop gun, so they just ad-libbed that whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, great scene, and that's the other thing is I liked the dialogue in this movie. I thought was really well done. It still makes me laugh on rewatches, and I think that the dialogue is a lot more clever than what you might expect from a movie like this.
Yeah, this is something because this is what I thought after I was done watching it, or just about done watching it. I'm thinking like you could actually remake this. I think I would actually, if it was done right, you could have a really solid film here.
I sort of agree.
There's just not. I wanted them to do more. I just wanted them to be more of, some more badassery in there.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that I feel like there could have been a sequel to this, and showed more of them being badasses in this world.
But I did love the ending when they were waiting for the light, and Samantha just loses her shit.
Yeah. It was a great way to end the movie too. When that guy shows up and just it's a great way to end it. Getting back to the whole 80s theme of this, that's one of the few reasons that I like this movie so much is that it pulls everything that you know about the 80s into one movie. And there's several movies that do this, but you have the arcades. Because Catherine Stewart's character Regina, she's like an arcade freak. She's playing Tempest nonstop.
Which I don't understand because she gets so worked up about DMK being on the number 6 spot. Which I love that at the end of the world, the first thing she does is
tries to beat the score.
Which she does beat it, and she puts Reg in, but at number 7 is Reg. Like DMK would just drop down to 7.
Ooh.
You wouldn't take him the whole way off.
That's a plot hole right there.
So I got to take points away for that, and I'm sorry.
That's a goof. So you have the video games, you have the arcade there, you have the music. There's a lot of really corny 80s music in this, which I love.
This is another thing that I like, that they didn't turn off the music at the that shit would have irritated me.
At the
When they
radio
were
station?
yeah, they just kept it on there, just like it was.
Well,
just
that was one of the things. Remember, Samantha hated the music that they played on that radio station, so she changed it to her own music. She decided to pick what she wanted them to play because she hated the stuff that they
but
played
I think
on that
after
station.
a while you would just be like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah. Well, according to the synopsis, they're Valley girls. So, but they're not though. That's the thing. They're not. They're not
that's
typical
kind of-
Valley girls when you hear that term.
Yeah, they're not at all.
They're blonde and they live in the valley, but that's pretty much where that stereotype ends.
Yeah.
There is a great scene in a mall too. Another classic '80s bit. You gotta have a scene in a mall.
I did love that they're just like, because at a certain point I'm thinking to myself, are you guys gonna do anything like at all outside of just hanging out on that sectional? Samantha just is pounding beers. I don't know where she got the beers. I guess they picked them up at the store with the Uzis. And then all of a sudden they're just like, let's go to the mall. And there's just that whole montage. And it's like, all right, they're finally doing something. Cool.
Yeah.
And then those stupid assholes show up, which make a hilarious shootout. Just ridiculous shootout.
Yeah, it's great.
I love the cuts of the mannequins. It's just very slow. Cut into all the mannequins and just Regina like she was taking that because Samantha, I mean, this is a ballsy move. She attracts their attention by throwing shoes at them.
Mm-hmm.
They have automatic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
She's throwing shoes. Okay, Regina's in the perfect spot to shoot them right in the back after she's putting her life out there throwing shoes at these guys. But Regina doesn't. Regina takes that time to run around the mall to find her perfect spot to pose like a mannequin. That's what she decides to do.
It's always it's something she's always wanted to do.
I guess.
So
It didn't
had to do
it didn't work in her favor though. I think she got too caught up in the mannequin pose.
Yeah, I think so. I thought there was going to be more interactions with people like that in the movie because really that's the only interaction with kind of the rioters or survivors in this world.
That gang's leader is something else. I just love it because you get "you're crazy," which is such a weird line to just yell out, and then he yells back, "I'm not crazy. I just don't give a fuck."
No, he was affected by the cloud, the gas as well. Yeah. So maybe that turned him.
Then you have Hector. Hector comes back in a Santa suit. Yeah. It's like it's L.A. And he's like, I'm going to come back in the Santa suit. The girls are going to love this. They're just going to love it.
They're not going to find it creepy or anything. No. That's the other thing is this is kind of a Christmas movie too.
Yeah.
Night of the Comet. The Blu-ray is really solid too. I would recommend picking up the Blu-ray.
My favorite thing about it, I have to give, is that they do a really good job of it looks like they're in a post-apocalyptic.
Yeah,
world.
there's
the way the sky looks and everything.
Yeah, and they talk about that in the special features of the Blu-ray too, like how they were able to, because this is a very low-budget movie, and how they were able to quickly shoot the outside locations and make it look like nobody was in the city. All right, so what are you gonna give? I'll do since you did the last one. Night of the Comet. I'm gonna throw this an 8 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it like a 6.5. I'm gonna go 6.5. It was fun. I did have fun.
I love it.
I just wish there was. It feels like a missed opportunity.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more. They absolutely
could. This movie could have been just fucking amazing.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more with it, but there's just something about it. There's just this cleverness to it that I like.
I think it comes down to Regina and Samantha.
Yeah,
they're such great characters. I just wish
you want more.
I needed them kicking more ass. Is what I wanted.
Yeah, I think we could all use more of that, less of the think tank.
Less of Hector going back and not pulling the trigger on that kid. Like, blast that kid's brains out. Hector, come on, what are you doing? He's got to throw in that corny, there goes the neighborhood. Like, you're so 80s, Hector.
Oh, Hector. All right.
I also love the fact that, like, when he leaves to go back to his mom's house and stuff, he still takes the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's cars everywhere. that you could just take. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna stick with my truck.
Yeah, he's a stand-up guy.
Not when he comes back though. And I love how he also
Yeah.
he comes back as Santa Claus, and then he's like, oh fuck that, I'm gonna be a cowboy now. Like he's just like, I'm trying out every persona I can.
Why not? I would. Why not?
I probably would too.
You can be whoever you want to be.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, I would have been doing so much more instead of just hanging out on a sectional. I would have been racing cars, just shooting up stuff.
Well, this was right at the beginning of the apocalypse, so I'm sure that, they did a little bit of it with the mall, and I'm sure given more time with them, we would have seen more of that stuff.
Yeah, true.
No. All right, let's move on to 1986 with From Beyond. This is directed by Stuart Gordon based on the H.P. Lovecraft short story. I have a synopsis here. A group of scientists have developed the Resonator, a machine which allows whoever is within range to see beyond normal perceptible reality. But when the experiment succeeds, they are immediately attacked by terrible life forms. This stars Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton.
This is the first time I've ever seen Barbara Crampton in an early role.
Yeah?
And when she first showed up, I was like, she looks really familiar. That has to be somebody.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to seeing Crampton now. It's the first time I've ever seen 20-year-old Crampton.
Yeah. Interestingly, I realized that I wrote a Grindhouse Weekly article on this one way back in 2013, I think. And I reread it after I rewatched this, and it was so bad. It was just so bad. And I regret it. And I almost unpublished it. I almost deleted it. But I was like, no, what? No, I'll forget it.
That's why you don't read them. That's why you don't read them. Don't ever read them.
That was my mistake, yeah.
Don't ever read them again.
Going back and reading an old review. So, because I wrote that, we'll start with you, Kevin. What did you think of From Beyond?
From Beyond was, oh man, this was so great. This is just, it's bizarre because there's a lot of gross shit in this movie, and the effects work is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
With some of the stuff. I mean, some of the stuff is just disgusting. But it's, I don't know if it's the 80s thing or it's just like the structure of it and the characters and the dialogue and stuff. But it's a comforting movie. I don't know how to explain that. But as soon as Jeffrey Combs shows up, first thing I thought was, damn, your sweater looks super comfortable. And I'm just like, I want to hang out with you guys for the next hour and a half. And especially when Bubba Brownlee shows up.
As soon as Bubba shows up.
Oh my God. And those three go back to the house. I'm like, I am in for whatever you guys want to do. Like, let's just do it. Let's hang out. I'm here. And then shit gets crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny because I watched this immediately after the Boxer's Omen. And then when I watched Boxer's Omen, I was like, oh my God, a guy vomits up an eel. That's fucking insane.
Yeah, there's some really gross
and then
shit in
he
this one, too.
He turns the resonator on and this eel bites his face. I'm like, damn, eels. I guess that was a thing in the 80s. People were all about eels.
Yeah, they were gross and creepy.
Yeah, they are. And people should bring them back because they're bizarre. They're bizarre creatures.
Yeah, I think we do need to see more eels in movies, that specifically eels attacking people or coming out of people's mouths.
Just coming out of places you wouldn't expect eels to be.
Now this is directed by Stuart Gordon. Have you seen, and it's based on a Lovecraft story, have you seen Reanimator?
I have not, which I was going to try and cram in there.
Yes,
because I also noticed that the writer is Brian Usna.
Yeah.
Who did Society.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I think you should definitely see Reanimator. He made Reanimator right before From Beyond. So he's just coming off of Reanimator. There's a lot of similar themes in Reanimator. Probably the key difference is that Reanimator has a lot more humor in it. There's a lot more comedy in Reanimator than in From Beyond, but you have a lot of the same cast members: Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton. So, and it's sort of a similar thing too, where it's a group of scientists trying to do an experiment.
Yeah, which is always good stuff.
Oh yeah,
just scientists trying to do things that they shouldn't do. It's always entertaining.
Yeah. So in this one, the big thing is, so they set up this experiment to stimulate the pineal gland in the brain And in doing so, their goal is to open a window, sort of, to
Yeah,
a dimension
the
that
thought is
is...
that the pineal gland is like the third eye.
Yeah. So they can see this dimension that is happening all around us. It's within our own, but we can't perceive it because our pineal gland is not large enough or developed enough. And that's what this resonator does.
Stimulate that shit.
But it turns out that the world that's living on top of ours is not very nice. It's pretty gross. There's flying eels and jellyfish with teeth. And
yeah, it is odd that they look very familiar to creatures that we have in our universe.
Yeah.
I think that was like a slight missed opportunity. Should have come up with a little bit more creativity there.
Well, the main guy. So one of these scientists that is sort of the leader of the group, he ends up getting killed, or so they think, but it turns out that he goes into this dimension. He is transported to it, or at least his head is. Yeah. And once he comes back, I'd say there's a fair amount of creativity within his whatever definitely. They've done to him.
And it's still interesting to me because I don't know, like, what killed him. Like, was it that creature that he became? Because they don't really show that. They just...
Yeah, the way that... Because they show his body and how his head looks like it was twisted off. Because, like, his neck stump is, like, all... It's twisted. Yeah. So, something... Maybe he tried to go in. Like, maybe he tried to go into the world himself. And when he stuck his head through, it popped it off.
I guess. I don't know.
It could have been...
But that's also... Well, no, because Combs says... Crawford says that it ate his head.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's... there could be completely... There's other creatures. Because there's the one in the worm thing in the water.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
So there's there's probably all kinds of nasty creatures.
I'm really interested in this other world. Like, what that worm down in the basement, what's he do all day? Like, when he's in his unit, like when the worlds don't collide, or cross over, like, what's he doing?
Probably
is he just like hanging out?
Probably the same thing that our earthworms do. They just squirm around and eat. That one looks carnivorous, though. Yeah. So he probably eats other smaller creatures.
Yeah. Probably those eels and jellyfish, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah.
But this is from the mind of H.P. Lovecraft, and a lot of his things are tied together, so maybe this was like a Cthulhu type thing. Maybe there's...
Well, I also wasn't expecting it to be like so like heavy on the sex.
Yeah.
Like how it turns out like it's all about like Pretorius is this like weird creepy dude.
Yeah. He's like a sex fiend. And apparently the pineal gland is tied to sexual arousal or sex drive.
Yeah. So Ken Faree just comes out and he's like, explain that boner I got.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh, Bubba. But then it also kind of has, it's almost an addictive thing too, because after Barbara Crampton experiences it once, she wants to do it again and again, and that's where things kind of go haywire. It's basically
she ends up getting a leather fetish thing going.
Yeah, just to step back in the plot a little bit. So Jeffrey Combs is the assistant of the guy who gets his head bitten off. He tells the authorities exactly what happened. Of course, they don't believe him. They throw him into an asylum, and that's where he meets Barbara Crampton, who she believes him. She believes what he's saying is true, and she decides to get him out of the asylum and prove his innocence by recreating the experiment. Yeah. And then we have Ken Foree as he's a police officer who is assigned to kind of guard Barbara Crampton, make sure that Jeffrey Combs doesn't get all weird and try to kill her.
Yeah.
And things go horribly awry.
Horribly wrong.
Especially for Jeffrey Combs. Poor Jeffrey Combs. Poor Crawford. I mean, the guy...
I feel bad for Bubba, too, because...
And Bubba, too, yeah.
The thing that's weird about Bubba's demise, because, I mean, let's face it, you knew Bubba was going to die.
Of course, yeah.
I don't know what was, like, covering them. I don't know what those were. There was
They look
And
like fruit flies.
they were like fruit flies. So Crawford's completely covered in them. Barbara Crampton completely covered them, and they're covered in them for a while. And Bubba's trying his best to like help out. And then through like some weird accident, he drops his flashlight, which apparently attracts the fruit flies to him.
Move
Now,
out of the way. Like,
well, that, but also the fruit flies were on Crawford for a long time, like an extended period of time, and he just kind of got like bloody. Like they just kind of like bit off like the tiniest, thinnest layer of his skin, and he's just kind of bloody all
Yeah.
over. Bubba, they're on him for like 5 seconds.
yeah,
They
just,
eat down to everything. Like
Yeah.
the bones are gone, all of his guts are out, and you're just like, why? Why was there a discrepancy there? Like, what's the difference between Bubba and Jeffrey Combs that they can be on Combs for like 10 minutes and he just gets bloody, and they're on him Bubba for 5 seconds
I
and
don't know.
the entire structure of his body is gone.
Maybe Crawford had, maybe he was more powerful or something, and he was able to fight them off because he had the enlarged pineal gland.
True,
Maybe there was something there where he was able to fight back more than Bubba.
I do love when they go back and there's the chalk outline of Bubba, and it looks so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, this movie just gets weird.
It does, yeah, especially towards the end, and
Yeah,
when
because
he
I
starts
don't
like mutating, and
I didn't quite understand the pineal gland on Combs. I mean, that was pretty.
oh my god, the scene,
That was impressive,
the scene when he ends up back at the, so basically they are able to escape, and Jeffrey Combs ends up in the hospital. But by this point, his pineal gland is so enlarged that it actually breaks through his forehead, and it's like on this stalk. And there's a scene where I guess they think he's dead, or not dead, but gravely injured, and they're trying to, I guess, extract it. But there's a doctor that's trying to pull it out, and it keeps moving around. It's the grossest thing because it looks like an asshole on his forehead.
Yeah. Yes, with this weird like micro penis that comes out of it.
Yeah, it is.
And it just her reaction to it too. She's just like it's like she's seen it before. Like
Yeah.
it's not a big deal to her. She's just like, I gotta get.
She
this
just
dope.
has a scowl. She's just scowling at it.
Yeah, and then she just gets like pissed off and frustrated, like, God damn it, I can never get these things. And then just leaves. And it's like, you should be like taking pictures, documenting this. Like,
Yeah, this is a big deal. Like, this is a huge deal.
yeah, like you have to get this ready for a medical journal. But instead, you're just like pissed off and like, oh, I'm taking a coffee break. I'm just going to leave this guy unattended in a room.
Later on, there's a scene where Barbara Crampton actually bites the pineal gland stalk off of Jeffrey Combs, and the sound that it makes when she bites it off is so horrific. You're just like, oh, God.
I also love the fact, because this is one thing, there's a couple of things that didn't make sense to me. Number one, that the pineal gland also made you crave brains for some reason. I thought that was odd. That just makes you eat brains.
I gotta say, his method of brain extraction was probably the most efficient one I've ever seen in a horror movie.
Yeah.
I mean, normally when you see zombie movies and stuff, they're trying to go in through the top. You know, they're trying to crack the skull open. But no, Jeffrey Combs is like, no way. I got a better way.
He's a scientist.
He goes in through the eye socket, sucks out the eyeball, and then gets the brain that way.
It's funny that he does that. And then I also love that, like, when they cut to him seeing from, I guess, like, the pineal gland, the third eye, like, changes your perception. And I love that it's just, everything just looks shittier.
Yeah, it's like, it's worse. It's like the heat. What do you call it? Like the heat vision, where you can see how hot things are, like the predator vision.
Like the predator vision from like a Sega Genesis, though. It's not even like legit. It's like from a Sega Genesis game.
It's like an 8-bit predator vision.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, you went through all that to get that, and now you're just eating brains. Like this sucks. Like, this just did not work out.
All right, so that's From Beyond. Final thoughts?
I got really confused at the end because Jeffrey Combs gets his head ripped off, and then he just pops back. Like
full head of hair.
He just rips out again. Which that was something. That was actually pretty.
The birthing scene.
Yeah, where he's just like, and then he gets sucked back in, and then his arm comes out. Like damn, that was cool.
Yeah, very gross.
But also, like, where the hell do you come from?
He came from beyond.
I guess.
Came from beyond.
I guess.
Solid movie. I would say that I still prefer Reanimator over this one, but still a very enjoyable watch, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. From Beyond. Let's give it a score.
I'll give it like a 7.5.
I'm also going to give this one a 7.5. Solid horror movie with some very gross and very fun elements. Next up, we're talking about 1989's Society. So this is the last one. Came just before the 90s. So this is directed by Brian Usna. I have a synopsis here. An ordinary teenage boy discovers his family is part of a gruesome orgy cult for the social elite. Oh my God. So I saw this movie not too long ago. It was maybe a year or two ago, and I loved it so much that I rewatched it twice since then. It is just Society. What? Okay, so basically there's this kid. He lives in Beverly Hills. He doesn't quite fit in. He doesn't know why. Something doesn't seem right. He's just not fitting in with his family, and he slowly discovers that there's something horrific going on with his family and some of the local residents there.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be something, because the first time I saw this, I didn't know what to expect.
Well, that was the fun thing about this one for me is I knew that it was kind of weird. Like, I heard that it was weird, but I had absolutely no idea what this movie was about. I didn't even read a synopsis before I started watching it. And I'm just like, and interestingly, like, it takes its time to get to like the full on like horror portion.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it, though.
Yeah, same here. I mean, there's little things here and there that are like creepy, like visions that he has where he's like, and off the bat that the kid's a little off.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just thinking like, okay, he's just having like visions and stuff, and he's not really taking medication. And there's just some weird thing, like the twisted bodies, where like the top portion it's just bizarre. And I just kept sitting there thinking like, where are they gonna go with this? Like, what are we doing here? Because it's really bizarre. And then when they get to the thing, oh my god, because I remember. And this is something that I love about Society, because the opening credits are fantastic. The song is bizarre and creepy.
Mm-hmm.
You can't quite make out the visuals, but it's something weird going. Like, you can kind of make out some faces, and it's just, you can tell that they're just writhing. Like, it's just like a mass of bodies tangled and writhing together. But you can't quite figure out what's going on.
Right? Yeah, you don't know if they're like in hell or if like you don't know what that's all about.
And it's so you get that right off the bat, which is just really creepy and unsettling. And then nothing really happens. It's kind of like a high school movie. This guy's just trying to get along. He just feels out of place. He's going to his doctor. He's trying to get invited to this party. Keeps having weird visions and stuff.
He's having issues with people at school.
And then when you get to the ending portion and you see what you saw originally in the opening credits, now you're seeing it in full light. You're just like, oh, sweet Jesus. That's what this was?
It gets pretty fucked up. I'll say that.
It gets really fucked up.
But I love it. I love that there's this mystery element to it where he knows that there's something not right. He has a buddy who is also letting him know like there's something not right going on here, something weird. And then you have this whole thing with his sister and talking about her. What do they call it?
It's the coming out party.
Yeah, I think it was like her coming out party or whatever. And when he gets that tape, and you're just like, what is going on here? And then finally, it all culminates to this amazing climax where you're just like, holy crap. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder and grosser as it progresses.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, I don't want to give away, because anybody, like, the other movies that we saw, that's okay, we can spoil them, but for this one, I just don't want to give that ending away for anybody that hasn't seen it, because I want people to see it like how I saw it, not knowing what was going to happen, and just the shock of, what the fuck?
Because it's going to be something bizarre. And then, they kind of they throw out the word shunt. They're like, oh, we'll have our first shunt of the night. And you're like, shunt? What the fuck is
what is that?
What's a shunt? And then someone gets shunted, and you're like, what the fuck? Who thought that up? I just can't believe someone thought that up.
Yeah.
Wrote it out on paper. Someone else read it and was like, oh, yeah, no, let's make that and show it to people.
And this is why 80s horror movies are the best, because you have movies like Society. There's no other movie like Society. You have horror movies that come out now. They're either slashers or supernatural horror movies or found footage. That's pretty much all you have. They all kind of follow the same formulas. But Society, you watch that and you're just like, what is going on here? There's nothing like this. It's completely unique.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
Now, what did you think of the effects work in this one?
Wow, they were impressive.
Yeah, they went overboard with it. The thing that always gets me is the sliminess of it. How everything is wet.
Everything is gross.
It's just,
and there's so slimy. The one thing that I thought was absolutely hilarious is when he's fighting Ferguson at the end, and he first kind of like, he finally turns the tables, and he's in like phase 1 of shunt, and Ferguson's mouth comes off of Bill Whitney's face, and just the noise that it makes, it was hilarious. Man.
Yeah, this is one of an 80s horror movie that I could just endlessly rewatch, and it just never gets old. And I have this goal to show everyone I know Society.
That's just it's the metaphor that they're going with is, it's not a metaphor, number one. Oh, no, because they openly say it so many fucking times. It's
very surface level.
They just keep saying it over and over again. And at first they're just kind of like, they're tiptoeing around it. And there's a certain part of you that's like, I got to give it to you that you were able to show some restraint and not just full out say it until like the very end of the movie, when he just kind of just blurts it out there.
Yeah.
To explain everything. It's like, man, I thought you would cave and say that earlier.
Yeah. I love the poster for this one, the one that's on IMDb. It's a girl ripping her face off. Oh, God. Just amazing. I love Society. All right.
It's unfortunate because if you go to the IMDb page, like the photos,
I know they give it away. They give at least an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, because they do a pretty solid job of not giving away too much until that huge culmination at the end, where just everything goes out the window and it's just pure insanity.
I would hope that even with those pictures on the IMDb page, that people will still be surprised or shocked by what happens, because there's some other things. I did see there's one still image also of the dad. It's something that happens with the dad towards the end. There's a still of that's floating around too, which is really unfortunate because that was a big shocker for me too. I was like, what? My Society stars Billy Warlock of Baywatch fame.
Is that what he's from?
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm just like, the only thing I could think of the entire time was like, I just know that everyone, like every producer, the director, everyone was just like, we need a Michael J. Fox type. We can't afford Michael J. Fox, but we need a Michael J. Fox type.
Oh yeah, he's definitely Michael J. Fox type.
Like, he's Michael J. Fox. There was times where I'm just like, this is eerie. You are so like him.
Yeah. Yep. He's I first saw him on, I don't know if I've seen anything else that he was in other than Baywatch, but that's where I knew him from.
Wow, he's in a bunch of shit.
Yeah, he's in a lot of TV.
Wait, what? He was in a TV series from 1992 to 1993 called The Hat Squad.
Looks like he was in
What?
Days of Our Lives too.
What is The Hat
The
Squad?
Hat Squad.
Please be about hats. Please be about hats. Be like Lidsville, but a crime show.
Hat
Oh my
Squad.
god.
All right, while you're looking that up, let's give Society a score. I'm gonna say I love this movie. I'm gonna. This is an 8.5 for me.
I give it an 8.
It's just
Yeah, it's so entertaining.
yeah, it is just so out there.
Straight up entertaining, and then you get to that end and you're just like, sweet Jesus. Shunting.
Shunting.
Fucking shunting, dude.
So,
Wow.
how did you feel about this week watching all these 80s horror movies?
I enjoyed myself so much. I learned so much. It's just, you know what I mean? Like, there's just something about the 80s. Like, I've never seen an eel come out of a guy's mouth before.
Yeah,
I
it was yeah, it was definitely it was the best decade
like
for
out
horror
of all the
movies.
movies that I've watched, from like 2016, 2015, 2014, nothing
No, nothing
is
even
in
comes
this
close.
nothing's in the same vein of shunting. Like I didn't know that that was a thing that people would
Uh,
actually like okay and then film. It's just oh man, something else.
I don't. I think that modern horror movies are. There's a lot of great modern horror movies. There was a lot of great horror movies that came out this year. I loved Lights Out and Don't Breathe. Conjuring 2 was good, and all these movies are great. But when you compare them to
I just
the
yeah.
hundreds, there are literally hundreds of horror movies that came out in the '80s that were fantastic.
Well, I think the
And
other thing too is you just don't get that mix of like gross out. Plus, the practical effects really help. They make it
and
makes them endearing, and also they like these movies were fun.
yeah, that's the thing. That's exactly what I was just going to mention is that in the '80s, you had the comedy factor, the fun factor, and the pop culture that was injected into all of these horror movies. And that, to me, that's where, really shines with this decade. And you have horror movies in the '70s, and there were great horror movies in the '70s and even decades prior to that. I mean, those were kind of the building blocks. You have your Texas Chainsaw Massacres and your Halloweens, and those are
Yeah,
all amazing. Texas Chainsaw is still my number one horror movie of all time. But it's like in the '80s, they took those foundations and they just kind of expanded them and just made them so much fun. I mean, you have, the birth of the slasher subgenre was in the '70s, one could argue, but they really refined it in the '80s, with your Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Streets and such.
yeah.
And I just think it's just such a, like, when I was going through lists of horror movies that came out in the '80s, trying to whittle them down and pick ones that we could talk about, it was tough because there were so many, just like I said, hundreds to choose from that would have been good candidates. But
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's so many. There's so many. And then there's like going into this, I didn't know about like Hong Kong black magic movies. I didn't know that there's a fucking movie called Calamity of Snakes. Okay?
see, and that's like a
Like
whole area that
exactly.
I'm
Like
that I'm not even familiar
there's
with at all.
there's pockets of 80s movies that I don't even know about yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Calamity of Snakes.
I just like the word calamity. I need to use that just more in my everyday
That's what I mean.
vocabulary.
Who I just trying to imagine what the snake situation is that you would use the descriptor of calamity.
Oh, apparently,
Like what's it look like? What's the snake situation that someone goes, that is a calamity of
I don't
snakes?
know, and I kind of want to see it. Apparently, there's a lot of real life snake killings in it, which I'm not a big fan of. But
I want to give you some more titles from here because there's also Devil Fetus from 1983.
hmm,
The still picture of that is a guy's face ripping in half.
all right,
Seating of a ghost, black magic with Buddha. That sounds like an instructional video.
yeah, it does.
Oh my goodness. Calamity of Snakes. Jesus Christ. Hell has no boundary. Oh, I forgot about that. The boxer's Omen when they got that guy at the airport, or whatever, and they hit him with the
Oh yeah,
and he had the boils and everything, and he was all green.
and he was popping them.
Yeah, that was amazing. That looked so good.
That looked really good. Yeah, really cool.
Man,
All right, so that is 80s horror.
it's just
If there is in your lists, in your various letterbox lists and everything, if you notice that you don't have a lot of 80s horror on there, check some of these out. I would recommend all of these that we talked about today.
oh yeah,
And
oh yeah.
there's so many more. All right, let's move on. Do you have anything on your watch list?
I was only able to watch one of the movie that was not 80s horror. So you want me to hit that real quick?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I watched Dheepan,
Okay.
the Jacques Audiard movie that won the Palme d'Or. It can. I remember being like kind of confused because they weren't really talking about this movie, and then Cannes announces that Palme d'Or goes to Dheepan, and it's just like, wow, no one was talking about that movie. That's weird. So this is on Netflix Instant now. So I finally got to check this out. This movie, I don't know what the fuck is going on here. I don't know what it's from the start to very close to the end. It's just a normal film. It's just about this quote unquote family. It's essentially this Sri Lankan Tamil fighter. He leaves the army. This other woman finds a kid that doesn't have any parents, so they can make like a fake family and use these passports to go to France. So they just kind of act like they're family. They have this secret, and they're living in this rough part of France where he becomes like a caretaker for all these apartment complexes that are essentially run by different drug gangs. So he's just, and they keep trying to make these connections of they left one war zone and now they're in another one, but it's kind of different. So, but for the most part, it's not that bad. All right. But then at the end, just throw everything off the table. It becomes like a fucking superhero movie.
Huh?
He turns into this like super badass that he's got to save the day, and he single-handedly kills like the entire drug gang. And like the CGI they use in this is fucking terrible. It's awful. Like out of nowhere, it just becomes this action movie where he sneaks up on a guy with a machete and like a screwdriver, takes him out, gets a gun, gets in a car, runs some people over, lights the car on fire, drives it into a building. He like slowly walks. He's just taking people out left and right like he's fucking invincible. And then it just ends like years later where it's like he has a kid now and he has this wonderful home. And it's like, dude, you killed a shit ton of people. Like you were stuck in an apartment complex. Like you only killed like 10 people out of the drug gang. There was several more drug gang people. Like how did you get out of there? How did did anyone, question you about killing several people? Like how do you just kill a shit ton of people and then just the next sequence is, hey, he's at his new house with his kid. Everything's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
weird.
it's so bizarre. I don't understand it. It just gets really violent out of nowhere.
So that's Dheepan, Palme d'Or.
Yeah. So I don't know who made that decision, but I do not recommend Dheepan.
All right. Well, I saw a whole lot of 80s horror this week.
Oh, boy.
I went overboard, one could say. I started the week off with a movie called Video Violence from 1987. This is directed by Gary Cohen. It is a shot-on-video movie. I haven't seen a lot of these, honestly. Not a lot of shot-on-video movies in my on my library or diary or whatever you want to call it. But this was, because normally they're pretty bad. I mean, they look like shit, first of all, because they're shot on video. And this one was actually pretty damn good. It had a budget of nothing, of course, because it's shot on video. But the whole premise of it is that it's a husband and wife moved from New York City, trying to get out of the big hustle and bustle of the violent city. So they go to this small town, open up a video rental store, and things are kind of acting. They get this tape in the tape return slot, and it's a video of someone being murdered. And it turns out that it was the postmaster of their town
Oh wow.
And so they go to the cops don't do anything, and they start the owner, the guy, the husband, starts to investigate what's going on here, because things start acting very, very strange in the town. And he slowly uncovers that there's a cable access show where residents of this town murder people on TV, and they videotape it, and then they rent out the tapes for other residents in the town.
Okay.
And it's really fun. The dialogue's actually pretty good. The acting is it's all over the place. Like the main guy, it does a really good job, but everybody else is kind of like, it's not great. The editing was actually pretty solid, considering that this is straight to VHS. And apparently I read that the director had to edit the whole movie in 8 hours or something like that. and so it's actually pretty well edited. The only thing that brought it down for me was there's extended scenes of it's kind of like torture porn in a way. So you see the videos that these killers are making, and they basically show you the whole video. So it's not just snippets or him watching it. You see the whole thing. And that's unfortunately a large portion of the movie, and something I could have done without. But other than that, and it's not that I hate torture porn movies or anything. I don't prefer them, but I was more invested in the video store owner trying to figure out what was going on. So at any rate, video violence, it's worth a look. I saw the Stendhal Syndrome. This it's not an 80s movie. It came out in 1996.
Oh, who gives a shit then?
Yeah, this is an Argento film. I wanted to mention it because I really liked it. I never saw this one, and this is, I guess, one of his better movies, or largely considered one of his better movies. It's not my favorite. I don't think anything is going to come close to Deep Red for me, but this was quite good. It stars his daughter, Asia Argento, and she is afflicted. She's a policewoman. She's hunting down this rapist / serial killer, and she tracks him down to this museum, and she goes into the museum to try to find him, and she's overcome with something called the Stendhal Syndrome, which is actually a real affliction where you become so emotionally overcome by art that you basically completely lose control of your faculties.
This sounds amazing.
Yeah, so she is so overcome by this art that's all around her that she starts to hallucinate. She passes out, and then she forgets who she is. She gets amnesia. And in her weakened state, she ends up getting kidnapped by the guy and raped. And eventually she comes out of her state, and it's just like one thing after another with this movie. It is crazy. It's definitely what you would think of when you think of an Argento movie. It's within that wheelhouse. A lot of people say that this is really the last great film that he made before he started going downhill. Yeah. And I would tend to agree with that. It's fantastic. So check out the Stendhal Syndrome.
That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think you would like it. It's weird, and the dialogue is horrible, but I think you'll find it to be interesting. I saw The Zero Boys, like I previously mentioned. This is directed by Nico Mastorkis. Does star Kelly Maroney. It's about a group of paintball enthusiasts who go for a retreat in the woods only to be hunted by these rednecks. And it's sort of a slasher movie, I guess, but it's just not very good. I saw Opera. This is another Argento. This was 1987. This one was really fucked up. This is probably one of the most graphic, maybe not. It's definitely one of the most disturbing of the Argento movies I've seen, mainly because it's about a killer who is stalking this young opera singer, and he'll grab her and tie her up, and then he'll murder people that she knows in front of her and make her watch.
Oh, that sucks.
How he makes her watch is that he has needles on pieces of tape that he tapes to her lower eyelids. So if she closes her eyes, she gets the needles.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's pretty bad. I saw The Mutilator, which is a pretty typical slasher from 1984. I don't really have anything to say about it. It's I'd probably call it a light recommend. It has this really ridiculous theme song to it that it's almost worth, I'd probably say just go to YouTube and try to find the theme song, because it's so ridiculous. It reminds me of what's like Empty Nest. It reminds me of the Empty Nest theme song.
Yes.
I hate it when I have a bunch of movies and you don't have any, because
I know it does suck, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just.
I've never had it happen to me, but
I feel like a dick. I saw The Windmill. This came out this year.
Yeah. This is what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the reason I watched this is because I literally just came back from spending a lot of time in Holland. So I traveled all throughout, and this movie takes place in Holland. It starts off in Amsterdam, and it goes out into the countryside, and there's this ominous windmill, and people are being killed by a supernatural demon-like creature that resides in this windmill. It's pretty bad, but it was still fun to see the juxtaposition of what it's actually like there and what this movie portrays it as, because when we went, it's beautiful there. You have this lush green countryside with these kind of streams and canals that go through everywhere, and lots of sheep and livestock just frolicking about, and it's just such a peaceful, calm, wonderful place.
It sounds so picturesque.
It is, and it also it smells like chocolate, because there's chocolate factories. They make chocolate in a lot of these windmills, so a lot of the small villages and towns you go in, they smell like chocolate. It's so ridiculous. And then you have this movie, which is very dark and grimy, and it was, I don't know. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I saw Sweet Home. This is from 1989. This is a really tough one to find. You can only find this on VHS. They never came out with this on DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that. I don't know why. It's a Toho release, so it's not like the company's not around anymore.
Yeah.
This is directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa, who so it's a name from. He did Cure and Pulse and Seventh Code, which we saw. I think you saw that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Saw that a couple years ago. This is about a documentary crew from a TV program that they're going into this house that has been abandoned for 30 years and was owned by this famous artist, and they believe that some of his long lost paintings are in this house, but it turns out that the house is haunted by the artist's wife, and they get kind of terrorized by this woman. It's decent. It's not great. It's interesting that they made a video game out of this, actually. It was called Sweet Home. It came out for the Famicom, so the Japanese Nintendo. It never came out in America. And it was sort of like a precursor to the survival horror video game genre. Yeah. And Capcom made the game, and they were going to reboot it, and that turned into Resident Evil. So this movie/game is sort of a precursor to Resident Evil.
Nice.
Yeah, a lot of the characters in this are pretty much the mirror images of some of the Resident Evil characters, so it's pretty interesting. Plus, Kurosawa actually directed the video game too, or he didn't direct it, but he produced it or something. So, but he later tried to get his name taken off the film because he thought there was too much studio involvement and that they fucked it up. So
butchered it.
Yeah. I saw Waxwork from 1988. I also saw the sequel, but I'm not going to mention it because it's bad.
What? How did you do this?
I watched one or two every night.
Did you lose your job? Did you lose your job?
No, I'm still holding on by a thread. This is directed by Anthony Hickox. It stars Zach Galligan. It's pretty fun. It's about this strange wax museum that shows up in this suburban town, and it turns out that the exhibits, the wax exhibits, if you cross over the rope that is, blocking them off, you actually end up in that real life scenario. And it was all like horror things. So there was like a Frankenstein one, a mummy one, a Dracula one, and if you end up going in, you end up in that scenario.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was decent. The sequel is really bad. They end up going through time, and it starts off okay. So it starts off, they end up in, basically it's black and white, and they end up in a version of The Haunting, which was kind of cool. And then they end up in Aliens, the movie Aliens, which was kind of cool. Not, it was a riff on that, but the way that they shot it, they made it look like the same kind of cinematography and stuff. So that was kind of neat, but then they fucked it all up. And most of the movie is set in this like medieval time, and it's just awful. So Waxwork 2 I would avoid, but you can get these on Blu-ray. It's a double pack. So it's part 1 and part 2. And Lionsgate released that on the new Vestron. They're like revamping or re-releasing the Vestron movies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they sent us Chopping Mall and Blood Diner, and we reviewed those. They're fantastic releases. So, yeah, check those out, because they got a bunch more on the horizon. So, the only other one that I saw, Tenement, Game of Survival.
I like how you just said the only other one I saw. After you just
I saw 10. It was 10. Anyway, this is directed by Roberta Findlay.
What's this movie called?
Tenement, Game of Survival. It's from 1985. It's a kind of action horror movie about this gang of punks that are held up in this tenement house in the Bronx, and it's the last straw. They finally get kicked out, and they get sent to prison, or they get sent to jail, but they get out, and they come back to get revenge on the other tenants of the building, and they basically just go through and systematically murder everyone in this apartment building until the residents decide that they need to team up and try to take down these evil punks.
How long does it take them to figure that
out? It takes them a little while, actually. A number of people get killed before they finally band together and try to stop them. It's fun. It's a fun little. I guess it's a horror movie. I would call it a horror movie. It's really violent, but it's solid, and it's female director. So I'm always on the lookout for horror movies directed by females, because they always have an interesting voice to them.
Yeah, there's another movie that looks kind of interesting called Lurkers. 1988. A woman is haunted by flashbacks of her dead mother and visions of dead people floating. I just like that. I wonder if that's all the dead people do is just float.
Oh, maybe.
And they just
hang out. They don't do anything. They just float there.
They're just kind of like, oh dear God, help me! I'm floating. Please make this stop.
I get really bad vertigo. I can't take this.
I've been floating for 7 years.
Please end this.
Please make it stop.
So that was my Halloween. A lot of really great stuff.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I felt so good about myself for watching 4.
No, I felt good for you. I think you did a really great job.
I was like, I fucking nailed it.
Fantastic job.
He's going to be so happy with me.
Did a tremendous job. I was really glad you saw, because we were only going to do 3, and Society was one that was like, if we can fit it in, let's do it.
Yeah, which I'm glad I got that one in there.
I didn't rewatch Society because I just saw that.
Because if I didn't, my shunting ignorance would have continued.
Yeah, so
which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I guess.
Very glad that you were able to get Society in there. So that's Halloween 2016. Solid year. I think we might even just make a thing of it. We might just do part 2 next year, because there's just so much.
I think we should, because if you think about it nowadays, they rarely ever put out a Halloween movie on Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah.
That you could actually, something that's actually relevant that we could cover. We don't have that option, so we'll go back to the 80s instead.
Yeah.
Because you can go back to that year after year.
Oh yeah. You could just do it forever.
Yeah.
And we didn't even cover any of the big ones. I want to keep it kind of on the more not really obscure things, but just kind of on the fringes, things that I don't think we need to ever cover a Nightmare on Elm Street movie or
No. But I mean, there's so much.
so much. Yeah. All right, let's talk about some predictions. Inferno. You said 18, I said 42, actual 20.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be good, but...
No, I feel bad if that's something you did this weekend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you went
I said,
out to see Inferno. Like, that's a bummer.
Well, like I said before, I saw the first two, and I didn't like either one of them. So I don't know how they keep making them, and they're not good. Sorry. I like Ron Howard, I like Tom Hanks, but these movies just are not good.
Wait, Ron Howard made this one too?
Did he? I think he did, right?
Oh,
I just assumed.
Ron, what are you doing?
I just assumed he did because he did the other two. Yeah. Yep. He did. He directed this one too.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
I figured, that, once you get to like the third movie, it's, some guy that was like an AD.
Yeah, but you probably couldn't get Hanks.
So.
I doubt Hanks would have signed on for it.
That's true.
Yeah. So next week, got a big one. Doctor Strange.
Okay.
The new Marvel movie. I think that the reviews have been coming out for this already. Let's see we're sitting at a 93% right now.
So I think they've been generally good.
Yeah. I'll say 86 on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 84.
I'm excited to see it. It looks good. A lot of good people in it. I'm interested to see what Scott Derrickson does post Sinister. Let's see what else we have. Trolls. What are you thinking on Trolls?
God. 50.
All right. I'll say 64. And then we have Hacksaw Ridge. This is the Mel Gibson directed one. Okay. The war movie. It's about a medic who doesn't carry a gun into battle.
So many people.
Mm-hmm. Andrew Garfield. I don't know what to think about this one, honestly. I'll probably see it, not in theaters.
Yeah, I might check it out. Probably not. No, I'm not going to. I'm sorry. Why'd I say that? I'm definitely not going to see Hacksaw Ridge. Just threw that out there for some reason. Like, yeah, I'll check that out. I know damn well I'm never going to watch Hacksaw Ridge.
This is sitting at a 91% right now.
I saw the trailer for it and I just have no interest.
It's not a good trailer. I'll say that. It's definitely not a good trailer. The trailer made me think that it looked really sappy and just I wasn't on board with it. I'll say 84 on this one.
I'm going to go 80.
All right. Then we have Loving.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
I've been hearing about that movie for like 4 years, it seems like.
Yeah, I think it played the festivals.
Finally coming out. Played every festival twice.
Played a lot of festivals. As a fan of Jeff Nichols' work, I'm on board with this. The trailer looks okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's cranking them out.
Yeah.
Because Midnight Special just came out this year, and Loving's coming out. I mean, he's got 2 movies that are coming out this year.
Doing his thing. Getting it done.
What are you thinking on Loving?
Loving, I'll say like a 86.
Okay. I'll say 85.
Okay.
In limited release next week, we have Dog Eat Dog. That's a Nicolas Cage one, right?
Willem Dafoe.
It's
a Paul Schrader.
I was just going to say, is that the Paul Schrader one?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's probably going to be terrible, but...
It sounds interesting at the same time.
Yeah, I might have to give that a look. We have Trash Fire.
Uh-huh.
There's just something about the name Trash Fire that I like. I saw a trailer for this a few weeks back, and it looks decent. I'll probably check it out. We have Rainbow Time. That's the Linus Phillips.
Yeah. He plays a guy named Shanzi. Developmentally delayed 40-year-old man named Shanzi.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. Melanie Linsky's in that too, right?
And he's got a full-on bowl cut.
Yeah.
He's rocking it. I haven't seen that hairstyle in a while.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one. We have Peter and the Farm. That's a documentary. We have The Pickle Recipe. I do not know anything about that. We have Off the Rails. That's a kind of an interesting looking documentary about a guy who has Asperger's and is obsessed with the New York transit system, the MTA, and he frequently poses as a train conductor and will run trains, and he every time he gets caught and he ends up going to jail, and he was arrested like 26 times for doing this.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it looks very interesting.
It also I'm imagining it's one of those docs where you're kind of coasting on the inherent interest in the story. It's probably going to be the kind of shitty doc.
I don't know. It's got a good trailer, and the poster's pretty cool looking. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. It's got a 100% right now on the old Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, that means nothing. Army of One comes out. I think this is already out on VOD. This is the one with Nicolas Cage and who's that comedian?
Russell
Brand.
Russell Brand?
Yeah, Russell Brand.
It's Larry Charles movie?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard a thing about that.
Yeah, it's about a guy. It's like a modern Don Quixote about a guy who decides to go find and kill Bin Laden.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it doesn't look very good. My Dead Boyfriend. We have What Happened Last Night. The Shelter. That's pretty much it. Got a lot of stuff going on. Let's see what's coming out on VOD next week. We have, what is next week? Oh man, we're already in November.
I know.
Jesus.
I know, man. Birthday's coming up.
I know, mine too. We got Circle of Poison coming out on Wednesday, November 2nd. Then on Friday, we have Army of One, Peter and the Farm, Trash Fire, My Dead Boyfriend, Dog Eat Dog, and Rainbow Time.
Rainbow Time.
I'll be checking out Rainbow Time for sure. All right, Blu-ray next week. This is for Tuesday, November 1st. We have The Night Before. That's the one with Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Anthony Mackie. I missed this one, but I'll probably check it out. It looks okay, I guess. My Blind Brother. That's the one with Adam Scott and Nick Kroll. I'm gonna see that one. That one looks interesting too. What's her name's also in that? Jenny Slate. Anthropoid.
Okay.
Imperium. That's the one with Daniel Radcliffe. It was mediocre. Star Trek Beyond. I missed that one. We have Batman: The Return of the Caped Crusaders. This is the interesting one it's voiced by Adam West and Burt Ward. So the original Batman and Robin are back to voice this new animated movie. And it's the animation style's like done in old school animation style.
That sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah, I saw a trailer for it. It looks like it's really tongue in cheek. Like it's going to be really goofy, and I'm interested. 9 Lives, the classic Kevin Spacey cat one.
Oh shit, that's the one that revolutionized cat cinema.
Mm-hmm.
Turned it upside down.
Yep. Carnage Park.
Subverted everything that you know about cat films.
Yeah. Carnage Park. That's the horror movie. That's it's okay. And then The Sea of Trees.
Ooh, like an ocean of trees.
Any Criterions next week?
We have 0 Criterions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I didn't see any on the list here.
No, but I think they're just getting ready for the next one.
They're stockpiling it.
Stockpiling it because the next week's, oh boy.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, take a look at our Patreon page, patreon.com/FilmPulse, and consider helping us out by becoming a subscriber. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.